Hi guys, my name's Morgan. I'm gonna be sharing with you guys today my story of how I found out I was pregnant and how I am still pregnant at 20. So bear with me if this is like all over the place because it is going to take a lot to get to where I am now, I guess. Or maybe it won't, I don't know, but it just feels like a lot. My brain is racing and it feels like it's going to take a second. So it all starts back last year in, I think, January. I was with my ex-boyfriend. We are gonna call him Chad. Chad and I were dating, and him and I stayed together for about 8 months, I believe. We had broken up beginning of August, beginning of October, maybe kind of end of September, around like that area. And in the process of us breaking up, I was already speaking to my current boyfriend. Do I mention his name? Hey John, you're gonna see this anyway, so he probably will be in my videos anyway, so I'm kind of start this in a minute. My previous relationship, my ex-relationship with Chad, it was very, very toxic. There was red flags from the very beginning. He was cheating a lot, and me being the kind of person I am so kind-hearted. I love giving people second chances because I think, I don't know, you can prove yourself, you can try to better yourself. I'm an idiot. That's probably what it comes down to. I'm just stupid. And so yeah, we were having a lot of ups and downs. It was really rocky. I was living with him for a while because I had nowhere to stay. My mom and my sister had moved in with a family friend. And so he bought his own house and I ended up staying with him. And we lived together for our period of our relationship, probably 6 months of our relationship. And it was awful. Literally cried myself to sleep every single night. I was kicked out every single weekend. It seemed like we had terrible roommates. And end of September, beginning of October, I decided to break up with him because I couldn't do it anymore. And so we had ended things. I moved in with a friend from work and I stayed with her for a little while. And so I started talking to John, and John has been in my life for how long? John's been in my life for a really long time, in and out of my life for about 4 years, I'd say. But it was always him and I talking, and then like we'd stop talking, and then we would like spark it up again and start talking again, and then end it. And then that's when I ended up in my relationship with Chad, and he was with his previous ex-girlfriend. Right after the breakup with Chad, I took the initiative actually, and I messaged John on Facebook. I think I did I poke him or I waved at him, whatever the Facebook thing is where you can just like wave at somebody, and that started it. So he replied back, and hi, here we are. No, so that's basically how when we started seeing each other, started hanging out more often, and that us hanging out turned into me just staying at his house basically every single day while he went to work. He is a firefighter for Detroit, so I would go to sleep with him, wake up in the morning, he'd be gone for 24 hours, and then come back the next following day. So I was always here. I never ended up going home. I wanted to see him as much as I possibly could, and things were going really, really well from the beginning. It's just one of those relationships where I'm sure you guys have been in the same situation, or most of you can probably relate, from going from a bad relationship and then all of a sudden just going to a new relationship, and it's just like an eye-opener, and you're like, okay, why'd I ever settle for less? Like, this is like my golden ticket. Like, I'm putting him on a pedestal, honestly. I'm very fortunate to have had John come into my life. So let's get into how I found out I was pregnant, or we are pregnant. So I never had that like inkling that I possibly was. I hear sometimes moms say that like, oh, I just knew I was pregnant. I could feel it or just had this feeling. That's not the case with me. I'm just a worrywart, I guess. And so I've always just taken pregnancy tests because my menstrual cycle kind of has always been on its own schedule. We'll just say Aunt Flo does her own thing, wants to come when she wants to. And I think I just had missed my period by a day, and I didn't think anything of it at the moment until John and I were at a grocery store, and I think he jokingly had said something because I mentioned like, oh, my period's not here yet, it should be here in like a day, and he jokingly said something about getting a pregnancy test, but we kind of just laughed off, didn't say anything, and then we had to go into the aisle where the parent planning aisle is, and it was like next to like the tampons, razors, whatever. I needed razors, and the test was right there. So I like looked at it and looked at him, and he's looking at me like, what? So I grabbed it. I was like, you never know, just to be safe. Like, I think my period's gonna come. I'm cramping. I'm having every symptom. It feels like that, like my period's going to start. I start to get like cramps mainly in my legs and my thighs. So that was like my big sign of me thinking my period was coming, was like my thigh pain. And so we buy the pregnancy test, we get what we need from the grocery store, and we head on home. And by the time we get home, it's I think like 7-8 o'clock at night. It's not the afternoon or morning. And when you take a pregnancy test, technically they want you to take it right when you wake up, because your first pee, I think, is like your most fresh pee. I don't know. There's nothing in it to, there's like no water, no fluids or anything. Like, it's been sitting overnight. It's supposed to be more accurate. I kind of just went home, and he was downstairs. I think he was feeding our dog at the time. And I went upstairs, grabbed the pregnancy test, and the box came with 2 of them. So there was 2 pregnancy tests. I took one of them, went to the bathroom, peed really quickly, got up, washed my hands, and I'll insert a picture so you guys can see. But on the pregnancy test, when 2 lines pop up, that means you're pregnant, and if 1 line pops up, it means you're not pregnant. And right away, a very faint line started popping up in the spot where it's going to make 2 lines, if that makes sense, for it to show that you are pregnant. So the line didn't show up in the spot if it was supposed to be negative in like the circle. And in the picture, you guys will see what I'm talking about. And actually, I will go grab it for you as well so I can show you. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but so this line right here started to pop up first, which is obviously the line to show that you are pregnant. Okay, and so this line right here, if I wasn't pregnant, would have popped up first, and this one started to show up fairly quickly. And the other line wasn't showing just yet. It was just this line. So my heart started racing. I was just staring at it, and I had put it back down for a little while and just kind of sat there in the bathroom on the toilet, and I was just panicking for a quick second. And our neighbor is John's cousin. So instead of me telling John, I had taken the pregnancy test, slipped it into my flannel at the time, and walked over next door. And I walk over there, and his cousin and her fiance are on the porch, and I hugged her really quickly, and I whispered in her ear, and I was like, hey, please come inside. Like, please come inside. I hand her the pregnancy test, and I said, what does this say? Like, am I pregnant? And she looks at it, looks at me, looks at it, looks at me, and her face is kind of like, I don't know. Wasn't mad, wasn't sad, was just like, oh, like, she looks at me, she's like, you're pregnant, sweetie. John, at the time, I think was still here next door and had watched me walk over to his cousin's house. He eventually followed, and I was still talking to Ashley. She was still holding the pregnancy test, and he didn't know that I had taken it at the time. I think he just thought I had gone upstairs and then put everything that we got into the bathroom, like our razors and everything. And I don't think he had any clue. And he walks inside, and I'm crying. I'm like hunched over, like grabbing at my knees, like hyperventilating and crying, because I was just in shock, because I've had pregnancy scares before. I've taken pregnancy tests before where I was like, I'm pregnant. Like, I know I'm pregnant. And this just like took me back, especially getting pregnant a month into mine and John's relationship. That is very soon. I don't know if anybody's ever been in this position before. It's scary because you are still trying to get to know that person, and you're finding out you have a baby on the way. And hey, it takes two to tango. I am not preaching to the choir. We knew what we were doing and that this could be a possibility from like our actions. So I'm not acknowledging that. I'm not saying that this shouldn't have happened and why and this blah blah blah. No, it happened. So John walks in and he's just staring at Ashley and I'm in hysterics. Ashley looks over at him and is like, "You're gonna be a dad." And I was like, oh God. He just kind of smiled, and he was more comforting than I expected him to be. He hugged me and said, "It's going to be okay." And just, I just felt love, a lot of love at the moment, which I really needed. He didn't yell, he wasn't angry, he wasn't upset. He's very understanding. He's awesome. So he kind of just held me, and then we all sat down in the living room and discussed like everything that was going to go on. And it was still very faint, the line, and I was not convinced for some reason that it wasn't true. So I ended up taking another one in the morning. So here's the one, because I said it comes with 2 pregnancy tests in the pack that I got. So here's the 2 of them. I'm sure you can see that they're both very pregnant. And then for some reason still wasn't convinced, and I ended up getting a clear blue. And that right there very much so says pregnant. Our baby is due in July. I'm gonna have a little summer baby, which is kind of cool because my birthday's in March, and usually around my birthday, for some reason in Michigan, there's still snow. And then John's birthday is in September, so it's still a little bit, it's kind of warm outside, but it's getting to the cooler weather. So having a baby in the summer, it's going to be really exciting. It's gonna be eventful, you guys. It's gonna be a journey, and I'm super grateful for all of it. And yeah, I don't know, let's see where this goes. Thank you for watching this video and sticking around if you made it through the entire thing. I am so sorry if it was all over the place. Just bear with me, I guess. And yeah.